Well, hello everyone. You're here to show you the big bird in your telephone coloring right here. Color drawing is talking about is that with the telephones is what most of us here and most of us have are familiar with the telephone is that if you were to make a phone call that a lot of times that you would be familiar with a lot of these buttons right here. You got described what I had described right here. Of course, is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, and along with the number 0 it is, and then of course we get the star and pound, and a lot of times, which I begin to wonder about that, between star and pound, that a lot of times on the directions, like on the phone manuals, it is that I guess a star, star, either star or pound. It's like usually it's pound. Pound would usually mean like you'll confirm. It's like if you're doing like any type of online that phone settings, such as you say if you were to be accessing a voicemail or anything like that, say usually it's a star for more options, or sometimes it's 0 to be transferred to an operator or maybe a service desk, whatever it is. But most of the time it's like you see that on our phones. It's like with the cell phones is that is like if you were to be using a phone, say any type of technology related, it's like to a laptop or a smartphone, anything like that. But of course, it's like you're talking about is with the technology. Is like I'm sure it's like the year probably would have been about it's like 19 see here about 19 I think 1932 I think it was maybe no, 1931, 1932, something like that, whenever the very first phone came out. And then which I'm sure that of course it was before my time, but I guess that the phone networks look kind of like this right here, that you have like a little part where you talk through that you hear out of, and then there'll be like a speaker right here that you'll be able to talk through. It's like you have like a little cord right there. A cord. You got a cord right there, and then right here is you have is a stand. You got the stand right there, and then of course it's like that, which I heard is like a lot of things work by analog. So you turn it, and then it would rotate. So you like to say, I don't know if it's kind of clockwise. It is that it would work by analog. And then of course, if I don't know, then a few of them had touch buttons. But anyway, but you have it to where right here is described with Big Bird. That is like with the reading glasses and along with the colored crayons. It is. But talking about is with it's like with technology. And talking about is like with you got the phone right here, and then of course it's like to use like the white right here is to go ahead and color in details of the phone, and which most of us probably say that if you're familiar with any other type of phone models, a lot of times it's like that a lot of things, anything related to a phone, which whenever I was a kid, I remember whenever I was about 10 years old, that anything related to a phone was almost like kind of like a walkie-talkie. It's like I remember those old walkie-talkies that those toy walkie-talkies that you could play around with, and I'm talking about the kind that you had you can buy them for about maybe about $15 at the cheapest at like Kmart or Walmart or wherever. But you had these walkie-talkies, and there would be like a button that you would push, and then they would be like they would go within range from each other. I would say maybe about they would go in range about maybe 50 feet, something like that. But you got these walkie-talkies right here, and a lot of times is that you push a button, and then you would transmit. It's like you to go within distance and then be able to communicate. And I remember that I had the walkie-talkies until I got familiar with it. Say with the telephone. But of course, see here, go ahead and add some. I say some coloring right here for the phone. But anyway, which most of us say that if you're going to use a phone, a lot of times it's like that really that I remember that I used to buy them and then I talk on them a lot of times. I remember I even wanted a phone in my own bedroom, and then I of course even want to be that type of person that would even install telephone lines into homes, and a lot of times people would probably think that it's like, well, back whenever I was in school, it's like, well, that's what I think I want to be. It's like I want to be what you call, I want to get into doing a telephone working through the telephone company it is. But then on the other hand too, I might just thinking about is that a lot of which having a telephone in your bedroom would be nice, but a lot of people probably say that if you buy one of those adapters, which most of us have seen them before, those adapters where you plug in that, it's like you plug one in into a actual outlet it is, and then in for to the phone line. You got the phone line right here, and then you connect that, and then the other part you connected the. And I remember that whenever they were advertising that, see here, this end right here will get connected to the telephone line. And of course that's directly from the outlet it is. I never had one of those. I've seen them before, but more likely a lot of people are saying you buy them, you put them anywhere in the house. It's like all they need is an AC. All they need is a electrical outlet it is. And a lot of people are saying, hey, you got a phone in the bathroom, you got a phone in the garage or whatever, but more likely you got a phone in the basement. But more likely that people will probably say that if you're going to put a phone anywhere, just be somewhere where it's not around any type of flammable fluids, or any type of anything that anywhere where there's a lot of water resistance. Like I'm sure that a lot of people would probably say that if you're going to put a telephone around the house, that I don't know. Maybe you could have one down in the basement, but I don't know about maybe having one in the laundry room, or having one in the bathroom or anything like that, or maybe in the attic or in the garage, or whatever it is. But talk about it's like if you had a phone that was waterproof. A lot of people say you have one that would be waterproof. You got that. It's like with the fish right here. It's like be scuba diving while you're talking on the telephone. Or is it like when that will be fireproof? I'm sure there would probably be a lot of people who would probably say that, hey, I would like to have if I were to get a phone one of these days, then more likely I'll keep my eye on a fireproof phone, or maybe say a smash resistant. It's like anything that's not that easily breakable, a phone that cannot break real easily, is what I call is worth the money. It's like anything that can take twice as much damage. But on the other hand too, that and then also it's cool by this is like about the phone hookup jack, and which most of us probably say that you begin to wonder about that is why is it that there's like these whenever you look at the phone cord, that a lot of times you would see these wires, and about 4 line wires it is, and my best guess is just the way that the phone line is hooked up, that you got like a line for that would that would connect the signal to the actual router line, and then it would send it back or something like that. The way the wiring is hooked up. But anyway, more likely, if I say it would be about maybe a couple of hours of my time of homework just to find out exactly the right study about it's like about the the way the telephone works. But anyway, but you have right here is talking about is for emergency and non-emergency calls, and along with the 911, and then along with the operator, and which most of us would probably say that if you're going to be making a telephone call, if most of us are familiar with the sound, it's like beep 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 beep, or anything related to if you need help, please dial a number like I'm sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or no longer in service, or anything like that. Or so for, is talking about is back in the old days that they used to say is that, deliver letters, to loved ones. It is like before, it's like telephones were around, such and such, and then of course, however way that you like to communicate. But anyway, if it's by phone, or if it's by boat, or if it's by car, or it's by plane, that I would probably say that, and of course, I can maybe think about it. It's like I think the telephone bill was the very first bill that I think I got. Ever since I was about 16, something like that, I think the very first bill I got, of course, was not a car payment. And of course it was not what you call putting getting a charge card, whatever it is, getting on a credit card, whatever it is, or if it was anything related to shopping online. But if I remember right, that the very first bill I had gotten, of course, was the telephone bill. And I'm sure that a lot of people probably say that maybe they can't remember what their bill, their very first bill was, and more likely maybe it was whenever they were very young. But other than that, it's like you have it to where that the phone will reach in range of it, like you'll be able to make a phone call even whenever you go to the moon. So you make a phone call even whenever you go to the moon. It's like you go. But other than that, it's like you should be towards like going that far, huh? But other than that, it's like with Big Bird right here is talk about with phones, if it's a cell phone or if it's a smartphone or any type of laptop related device. That a lot of times you probably say that going back to school almost all over again whenever you learn a lot of this stuff also. But then on the other hand too, that you can also think about is that it's like pick out a color. It's like you say that is that the blue. It's like the blue, and then along with the green right here. And I would say that it's like that if you want, it's like to see here, put some details right here, and for the planet Earth right here. But anyway, with most phones nowadays, you probably say that if it's a satellite phone, international phone, or whatever it is, you could probably say that you would be able to call anywhere, if it's Australia or Iceland, Germany, wherever it is. It's like anywhere in the U.S. that a lot of times you probably say that it's like that you would have to pay long distance, whatever it is. But on the other hand too, that probably say that for the service, you hear about it maybe on the commercials. It's like call ATT or 1010-220 or 1010-321, those type of numbers with the telephone companies. But other than that, it's like they'll be able to know. It's like the very first time. It's like I can't remember my very first time using a telephone, but more likely I would probably say that the very first time that I maybe picked up the phone or maybe used the phone, more likely maybe whenever I was about maybe 7 or 8 years old, maybe 5. Maybe how I had one of those toy phones. But then of course the very first thing I may have said was just say hey, hey. But other than that, is that you got right here that we got the phone cord, and along with that it's like phone wire. It's like if it's like this, like it was me that of course I'd never made an emergency phone call before, but until I do, I guess to say is to know. It's like they say before that if you ever were to get on the phone with the operator one of these days, to know is to calm down, and to know is like can you verify what the location, what the emergency is. Other than that, it's like with the reading glasses along with the colors, and like this, like along with today is for Big Bird, Big Bird telephone coloring.